Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Hi, I'm Speeder. Okay, welcome back. So today, I woke up like an hour ago or so, and I watched Dragon Prince episode. I think it was a little more than an hour, maybe an hour and a half ago. But, I watched the Dragon Prince episode, and I thought, you know what, I want to do a news video today. So, it is the last day of summer for me. It is August 10th right now. Obviously, this video will be posted far after today, but tomorrow is the first day of school. Why? But, yeah. It is what it is. So, I'm trying to get as much as I possibly can done today. Got 2 books, bunch of videos, Arrowverse stuff. I also want to finish. I also need to locate the exact places of all my classrooms and everything, you know, all that. So, yeah, just trying to get as much done as possible today for tomorrow. Since school's starting and I will be more limited on what I can do. But let's just get started. So, this episode that I'm doing a review on is episode 5 of the Dragon Prince, Empty Throne. An Empty Throne? Yeah. So, it's an empty throne, and basically, we'll go over the story. If there are any character introductions, I'll go over those, but there aren't any. But I'll be going over story, action, humor, and character development. I'm not going to mention the animation anymore for this one because I'm pretty sure I've already established my point about how I feel about the animation for Season 1. It's great, but it's a little choppy, and it gets so much better in Season 2, where they drop the choppiness and it becomes really, really good animation. So, yeah. Anyways, so let's get started by doing an overview of the episode. By the way, this will contain spoilers for the first 5 episodes of The Dragon Prince. And maybe for the rest of it, but I will try to avoid any other spoilers for the show. So, yeah. First 5 episodes. Anyways. Okay. Story. So, in this episode, you start out with Viren going into his study place, and he opens a secret compartment thing with behind a bookshelf where he keeps this very strange secret thing with a bunch of butterflies in it, magical butterflies, which he then uses to, he saps one of the energy from one of them, and you can see in the shot that he is like covered in dark magic stuff, but when he uses one of those he looks completely normal. So you would guess that he uses these each morning to replenish himself, which is very creepy. Okay. And then, sorry, my hand is so itchy in my arm. Oh, that's why. I have a mosquito bite. I need to stop itching that. 3, 2, 1. Come on. Put pressure. Should stop itching. Okay, I think that worked. Alright. No, it didn't. Okay. Whatever, I'm just gonna try to ignore that. Anyways, so yeah. After that clip with Viren, you go to the trio Callum, Ezran, and Rayla. I guess you could say it's 4 of them because bait, but just the 3 of us, the 4 of us. Sorry. Anyways, let's see. So you skip to them. They're waking up in the morning. Callum is playing around with his cube that he found in the Panther Lodge from the last episode and seeing what type of magic each all these different things are. Like he points it towards the primal stone, and it shows the sky magic. Points it towards Rayla, shows moon magic. Bait comes up to it. I believe it shows sun magic. Was it sun magic? Or was it earth magic? I think it's sun magic. That would make the most sense, I think. But yeah. So sky magic, moon magic, sun magic. Right, so he's playing around with his cube, which wakes Rayla up, and then Ezran gets up, and they're all awake, and then they make another joke about how stale the bread is that they got from the Panther Lodge, and how it seemed like it was a sack of clubs or something. So they make another joke about stale bread. Rayla goes off, presumably to find food, and she goes to a cliff, and she sits there on the edge and just looks out at the sunrise, and she tries to take off that band again, that is there because she didn't kill Ezran, and Ezran is still alive, so it's still there, and she's trying to take it off, doesn't work. But one thing I really like about this moment is the animation in this moment. It's one of the parts of the animation that I really like. I love the shot of just looking at Rayla looking out over into the horizon. It's super beautiful, I have to say. That was very good art, very good animation. It was great. It just hit me when I watched it. I was like, wow, that's really good. So, yeah. And then she hears shouting in the tree from Callum, saying, "Help, help!" So she runs back, and he has tried and failed to do a lightning spell. He doesn't know how to finish it. He doesn't know the keyword to finish it. And so he has a ball of lightning in one hand and the primal stone in the other. And he's like, I don't know what to do. So they may or may not have cut from this moment, but I'm just going to go with it and then review the other things that could happen, because I don't remember if they cut from this moment to a different one and then come back. But basically, Callum is like, I don't know what to do, and Rayla explains that a spell, in order to release, needs a word, usually needs a word to be released, in Draconic. So he's like, I don't speak Dragon, do you speak Dragon? She's like, I know a few words in Dragon. They can't figure it out, so Callum, against Rayla's wishes, ends up throwing the primal stone to her, which she catches and gets an electric shock, obviously, Anyways, so that happens. So obviously Callum's having a little bit of trouble with magic at the moment, so that's that. And then you go to a different scene. So you cut back to Viren, and he enters the throne room. And he goes up to the throne, and you're not exactly sure what he's going to do, but then you have Commander Gren, which I realized my mistake now. In the last episode I called him General Grin. That's not his name. It's Commander Gren. So it's Commander Gren and General Amaya. And so they're there, and they go up to confront Viren about his intentions and stuff. Viren kind of blows up, and then he's like telling all these lies and everything, and then he eventually offers, "Hey, Amaya, you're the late queen's sister. Why don't you take the throne?" But she doesn't. And she's like, "The throne must remain empty until the prince's return," right? And he's like, "Whatever," and yeah, he kind of leaves. If I remember correctly, either he leaves or Amaya and the commander left. I'm not sure, but yeah. So they have that interaction where he says one specific line that he says, "I'm a servant of Catullus. I am a servant," which is the same line that Harrow said to him. But opposite, "You are a servant of Catullus. You are a servant." So he's repeating what Harrow said, but he's lying. He doesn't think of himself as a servant. He has bad intentions, but I have mentioned this before in previous videos, not on this channel, but on Keeper the Books, about what draws the line between a hero and a villain is perspective and everything. So, who knows, maybe Viren does think that he's doing the right thing, which I think he does. I think he does actually think that he is doing the right thing at this point. So, it's kind of sad because he's not, but, you know, I've gone on this rant before, so I'm not going to do that again. Anyways, so, I need to stop saying and so much. I say that a lot. I need to gather my thoughts and not say or Turn on the captions for my videos, just like, and this and this and anyways. It's a bit of an issue. Okay. I was about to say it again. Okay. Okay, yeah. Whatever. Okay. So you then go back to the trio. Yes, I know Bates there too. Anyways, so you go back to the trio, and Callum and Ezran are wanting to take the boat because it's faster, but Rayla's like, "No, I don't really want to take the boat," and so Callum immediately assumes, "Oh my gosh, you're afraid of water," which he would be correct. She is in fact afraid of water. And she's like, "No, I'm not." So they take the boat, and that happens. And they're going down the river, and Rayla is all seasick and everything. She's motion sick. She's super afraid of the water, everything, you know, the worst. And Callum tries to distract her by playing a game where he asks her 5 questions, which does work. And the first question he asks is, "What is Zadia like?" And she explains it, and he's like, "Is this what Zadia is actually like?" And she's like, yeah, it is. Magic is everywhere, everything, you know. And Cal's like, "Well, I can't wait to see it," right? Anyways, so then Callum makes the mistake of saying, alright, question 2, "What are your parents like?" And she's like, "They're dead." So you think for a second that her parents are dead, but you find out that's not the case at the end of the episode. But anyways, then you go to Commander Gren and General Maya again, and they are at Amaya's sister, the former queen of Catullus, her memorial, her grave. And she lights a candle there, and she says something in sign language, and I don't know sign language, so I don't know what she said, but she says something in sign language. And then Viren shows up and also lights a candle. And then you go back to the trio, and Callum, wanting Rayla to face her fear, ends up not pulling the boat aside when they approach a waterfall, which I've always found to be idiotic, because if you fell off a waterfall like that in real life, I mean, maybe not that one specifically because it was a shorter one, but it kind of bothers me every time animation, like cartoons and stuff, have people fall off waterfalls and they're completely fine at the bottom. A lot of times that wouldn't happen. Especially with those really, really big waterfalls, that wouldn't happen. They would be dead. Like, I'm sorry. Or they would at least be very injured. That's just not realistic. I'm sorry. I mean, I've done river rafting before, and we don't go off stuff that steep. But anyways, and you have to be very careful because obviously they're like there's some rapids that are very much not safe, and I don't remember what they're called, but yeah. I went river rafting a few years back in Wyoming. Drove for a while there, and went river rafting on the Snake River near Jackson. So that was cool. That was a while ago. A few years ago. Yeah. But anyways, I do not live in Wyoming. Anyways. But the Tetons are cool. And so is Jackson. And so is the Snake River. Anyways, so let's see. So they have this whole waterfall scene, and also, I forgot to mention, they give a little explanation as to why bait is called bait. It's because apparently glow toads, which is what bait is, are often used as bait by fishermen to catch large sea creatures and stuff. So that's why their dad called him bait. So it's like, that's my dad's sense of humor. Yeah. Anyways, so that happens, and they get washed back onto land. Well, Rayla does. The others don't, including Bait. And Rayla tries to warn Callum and Ezran that Bait is in trouble. They don't hear her. So she, oh, I forgot to mention. Bait is out of the boat, and they grab him, and he's back in the boat, but then the giant sea monster, or whatever, comes up underneath the boat, breaks the boat, and they're all sent flying. So Bait is in the water, because he came up for Bait. Callum and Ezran are in the water, and Rayla was washed on land. So, again, like I said, Rayla tries to warn Callum and Ezran that Bait is in trouble because he's being attacked by the sea monster. They don't hear her, so she takes matters into her own hands, faces her fear, goes into the water, and she clings to the log for a second, encourages herself to go down. And she does, so she ends up grabbing Baits. Callum and Ezra are washed ashore. Callum sees what's going on, so he tells Rayla to jump after he has an idea. So he does the lightning spell again. He's holding it in his hand, but since he still doesn't know how to release it, what he does is he sticks his hand in the water and sends a shock that kills the sea monster, while Rayla and Bait are in the air, so they aren't affected by it. And then you get a really gross shot where you see all the dead fish coming up out of the water. Reminds me of Breath of the Wild, where you can shoot a shock arrow and kill all the fish in the vicinity. I use that strategy a lot whenever I'm trying to catch fish quickly. It's a good strategy. I have a lot of shock arrows. I'm really close to beating that game. I have like 15 shrines left. and then Ganon. And that's it. I pretty much have everything else. Well, I could expand my inventory more, but that's about it. I've been playing it for a while. I played on my brother's Switch, so I don't actually own it on my own. So I will get it eventually, and I want to do a playthrough of it on the gaming channel with my actual profile. The speeder profile rather than my ordinary profile, which I don't even use that. I use my brother's profile because that way I can actually play the games. So, yeah. Okay, so, let's see. So after that happens, you go back to the gravesite, and I realize that most of these episodes are mostly just me giving an overview of each of the episodes. But it's also my overall thoughts on it. But anyways, so I'll try to finish up this part quickly. Well, the rest of it. So then you go back to Viren and Commander Gren and General Maya, and Viren makes up some excuses about how he cares about the princes too much, and Maya calls this out as BS. And she's like, I have encountered. She makes some joke about encountering some bull droppings, as they put it. Obviously, she probably swore, but you know, nobody heard it. Anyways, so let's see. And what I mean by that is that they can't not add it to the kids show because it was done in sign language and not everybody knows sign language. So it's easier to put it in when people don't know sign language. That was not meant to be offensive at all if anyone found it that way, which it wasn't. Anyways, I'm gonna move on. So Viren says that he's gonna send a search party to look for the princes, and he says that he'll task his own children, Soren and Claudia, with the task. And General Maya's like, yeah, sure, we can do that, but I want to send Commander Gren as the leader of this expedition because I do not want your children to lead it, because no, I don't trust you, as she says very blatantly. She's like, no, I don't trust you, Viren. But anyways, so let's see. Goodness. So then you go back to the trio, and Rayla tells Callum and Ezran that her parents aren't actually dead, but that they were members of the Dragon Guard who guarded the Egg of the Dragon King, and the Egg of the Dragon Prince, I guess, I don't know. They were supposed to guard the Dragon Prince, but apparently, from what Rayla knows, her parents were cowards and ran away. May or may not learn more about that later. But anyways, and so she's very ashamed that her parents are her parents, and she explains that moon shadow elves aren't supposed to show fear and all that, which is interesting. But anyways, so then you cut to Viren. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention General Maya is going back to the border to keep the elves at bay from breaking through into Catalyst. So sorry. Anyways, so you cut to Viren and General Gren and Amaya and all them, and before Viren comes in, Amaya warns Amaya and General Gren, Commander Gren. Goodness, I cannot keep ranking. Oh my gosh. Okay, so Amaya and Commander Gren inform the soldiers that are going with them to not trust Viren, and that he sooner or later will stab them in the back, which is very likely. And then she runs off after interaction with Commander Gren, where they talk to each other in sign language, and I'm, again, not sure what they were saying, but yeah. Which I think it's great that they do that, because not very many shows do stuff like that and show that kind of representation. To have someone who's deaf on a kids show, that, like on a show in general, that's something that you don't see very often, and so it's nice to see that, because they're showing a broader perspective, which I think is really great. Which is probably why it's probably one of the reasons why the Dragon Prince is on the Representation Matters collection, which is great. So, yeah, I think this show does a really great job of doing that. So, yeah. But anyways, once General Maya leaves, Viren and Soren come up to Commander Gren, and they say, basically, there's been a change of plans, you're off the mission, and Viren tells Soren to take Commander Gren somewhere quiet where they can have a meeting at, say, 9 o'clock. So Soren ends up leading the mission, and you end off the episode with Viren going down to his secret room, laboratory place, whatever, where he has a dungeon down there, and that's where Commander Gren is, and he's chained up to the wall. And then you see Claudia for the first time in the episode at the very end, and she's like, "Our other prisoners are still refusing to eat," and you discover that it's Runan, who they've been keeping down there, and he is refusing to eat for some reason. But, I mean, he's a prisoner, so, yeah. But anyways, so I think the story in this episode was really good, actually. I think it's developed some characters. I think it's revealed some things that people may have been wondering about, like Rayla's parents. I think there was quite a bit of information that was revealed in this episode, and then you also have Callum struggling with magic. So, yeah, I think it was good. It was a good episode, with a lot of important stuff that happens. Okay, so there are no character introductions in this episode, but as for action, I guess you have the sea monster fight, where Rayla goes in and rescues Bait, and then Callum kills the sea monster with lightning spell. So yeah, that was really the only action in this episode. It wasn't very action-packed. It was a pretty quiet episode, but it was also a very important one. So yeah. And then you have humor. Maya, may I just say, she's very snarky. She tells some very good jokes sometimes, and so that's good. And tells one or two jokes. But yeah, this wasn't a huge humor episode, but that's okay. And I think it made it up with a great story. And then you have character development. So main characters that appeared in this episode were Callum, Ezran, Rayla, Bait, Viren, Claudia, Soren, Amaya, and Gren. So, as well as, well, I guess, so the main ones that appeared were Callum, Ezran, Rayla, Viren, Claudia, and Soren. And then the side main characters who appeared were Amaya, Gren, and, what's his face? Runan. So, yeah. So we had 3 side main characters, and all of the main characters appeared in this one, however briefly. So, Callum, you don't really see any character development in this one. I mean, you see his 5 questions game, which is interesting. How he's good at calming people down a lot of time. At least he tries to. He's a very charismatic person, right? And you also see his struggle with magic, which he's a mage, but he's still learning, which is good. So yeah, goodness. Then you have Ezran, who didn't really do anything in this episode, if I'm being honest. He was kind of just there. I mean, he told the joke, which I forgot to mention in the humor part. He was part of a joke with the bread thing at the beginning, and then he told about Bait a little bit, but that was mostly Callum. He just kind of piped in for a second on that, and other than that, he was just kind of there. So Ezran was a really minor part of this episode. You get to learn more about Bait and why he's named Bait, so that's development. Viren, you get that weird butterfly scene, and then you also have his whole what are his true intentions thing, which you kind of know what his true intentions are, but really do you? You don't really know what his actual intentions are at this point, so you get a little bit more on that, and you have his deceiving people, attempting to deceive people, though really he's not deceiving Amaya at all. So yeah. And then you have Soren, who literally all he does is say that he's going to lead the mission and have a quick interaction with Commander Gren. And Claudia, literally all she says is, "Are other prisoners refusing to eat?" So they're extremely minor parts of this episode. I feel like the most focus on this episode was Callum, Rayla, and Viren, especially Rayla and Viren specifically. As for the side main characters, you have something going on with Commander Gren and General Maya. Perhaps they're best friends, perhaps something else. Who knows, right? And you get to see that Amaya is not easily fooled by liars. At least not by ones like Viren. I guess she's kind of fooled by Callum saying that Rayla's evil, because she does believe that very much for reasons. But yeah. So that's basically the character development as well. So overall thoughts on this episode: it was really great on story. Didn't have a lot of action, had some humor, but the strong point of this story, and I think the whole show in general, is the action. I mean, the story. It has a great story overall, and I think in some episodes the action is better than others, and that's okay. The story is mostly what I care about, and honestly, the first season is my least favorite season in the Dragon Prince. First seasons are often one of my lesser favorites in shows, except for like Flash and Arrow, because season 1 of The Flash is my favorite season, and season 1 of Arrow is one of my favorite seasons in Arrow. By the way, I just started season 8 of Arrow, like yesterday. It's weird, but anyways, yeah, so that's all I have to say on Dragon Prince episode 5, Empty Throne. So, yeah, that's all. I will see you guys next time. Bye.